Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Great Malabai Tiffany.
Good morning,
Good
Ruben.
morning. How are you?
Good morning, Rufai.
Morning.
Good morning, Victoria Tundu, MKO Abiola.
Good morning, Mr. Tiffany.
Yes, let's start with this day. Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story, Constitution Review, Power Devolution. State police demands dominate public hearings. Akeredolu seeks return to 1963 Constitution. Okowa demands new document, not amendment. Lagos wants special status. NLC, Norge seek retention of minimum wage, local government autonomy. Now, the other newspapers are reporting this story on the front pages. The Daily Independent newspaper, states disagree on state police, restructuring, state creation. Sanwo-Olu wants fiscal federalism, special status for Lagos. Nigeria needs new constitution, not amendment or COA. Review should address regional agitations. Akeredolu, constitutional review will be a futile exercise. Afe Babalola, while the New Telegraph newspaper, constitutional review, federal government's excess power, major cause of friction. Akeredolu, El-Rufai back state police, independent judiciary, delisting local government areas. Review will strengthen Nigeria's democracy, unity, Omo Agege Ogwai. While the Daily Sun newspaper, constitutional review public hearing, Senate gets request for power devolution, new state in Southeast. Governors, others demand state police through federalism. Lagos seeks special status. We will support amendment that will enhance unity, prosperity, Ogwai. Amendment addresses challenges, Omo Agege. Now, the public hearing on the constitutional amendment kicked off yesterday in a number of centers, and the very familiar agitations, fiscal federalism, devolution of power, state police, these are the issues, but there was also the demand for state creation. In the Enugu Center, the Southeast demanding for one more state, at least to bring the Southeast geopolitical zone to be at par with other zones with more states than the Southeast. While in Kaduna, stakeholders were also asking for creation of states, one for the Christian areas and another for the other part of Kaduna, and they believe that this will be a panacea for the frequent conflict between Muslims and Christians in Kaduna State. But creation of state will not stop them from being neighbors. And I don't know how that in itself will arrest the situation, since they will still remain neighbors even when you create states. So, will this exercise bring the necessary panacea to a number of problems? But it remains to be seen whether, despite this, after this hearing, the Senate or the National Assembly, properly put, will be able to bring the changes that Nigerians are demanding about this constitution. As to whether we should go back to the 1963 constitution, I think Arakunrin Rotimi Akeredolu will need to also tell us the process of returning to the 1963 constitution, because we have a subsisting extant constitution as we speak, which we are operating. So if we want to go back to 1963 constitution, which has been the demand of a number of the old guard, because that was a constitution negotiated and agreed on by the founding fathers of the Nigerian nation. How do we retrace our step back? Of course, Ifeanyi Okowa, the governor of Delta State, is saying that, in fact, we should just write a new document and shove This one handed over by the Abubakar-led military government to Nigerians, Reuben Rufai and Tundu.
Well, on your state, they're also agitating for another state. They want Ibadan to be carved out separately. I don't know how that's going to work out. What I was saying earlier, I just want us to bend the 1999 Constitution. And to Dr. Abbas's point that he made earlier about the difference in the Senate Constitutional Amendment Roadshow and the House of Reps Roadshow, we need a unicameral legislature. We should not have a bicameral model that we practice here. We cannot afford it.
Do you not blame those who call it a jamboree?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be more correct, Tundu. And it has to be said that at this point in time in our national lives, we need to make, we need to ask specific questions. Questions like, what will become of Nigeria if we continue with this constitution? How can we scrap it and go back to a 63 constitution that was in agreement of we the people? Because we had many iterations, from Littleton in 57, down to Independence Constitution, down to the Republican Constitution in 63. And that really allowed the regions grow according to their pace. We could get oil from the south, remit some money, I think it was 12.5 or 15%, I forget the percentage threshold now, to the federal purse. And most of that money was used to develop probably the eastern region. The south was the same. We could industrialize it, but it became the hub because we got money from this region. And that's the way we can make this country work. Because this idea of a unitary government that somebody sits down in the center will not work. I mean, I can't sit in a country where somebody takes my VAT revenues from alcohol and goes to give it to people that will destroy bottles and bottles of beer and alcohol, and they'll still use my VAT money for their development. So everybody should source for its own means of livelihood. And you see countries that have done this have been successful. Look at Switzerland. I always posit a Swiss canton system, a federal unit. We can share so many things in common. Yeah, the federal unit can deal with the army, currency, and the likes and things like that. But let's run true regional system. And you see, when we even say true federalism, I quip a bit because there is nothing called true federalism. Federalism is federalism itself. We're copying the American Constitution. States have a great level of autonomy.
Well,
simple.
People talk about true federalism because officially in Nigeria we say we are a federal republic. But what went wrong in the real sense of it, further amplified by the 1999 Constitution, is a unitary system. So the question about true federalism is people are saying, if we say we are a federal state, then we should be a federation.
Simple.
In the true sense of it. Now, as for the 1963 Constitution, the big argument that has been pushed by Ishe Sage, professor, by Chief E.K. Clark, and now by Governor Akeredolu SAN of Ondo State, is that, look, many of these issues that we're talking about, fiscal federalism, devolution of powers, resource control, those are issues that are already fully addressed in the 1963 Constitution. But you know that in 1960, 1963, the country was just beginning to emerge. And that's why the 1963 Constitution is part of that conversation about how to have a true federation in which there will be justice, there will be equity, there will be a sense of belonging and ownership, and every part can develop relative to his own weight within the Nigerian arrangement. Now, the other issue again is the point you made about the governor of Delta State, saying that, look, what we need is a new document. And that's consistent with people who are saying that, look, that 1999 Constitution is a decree 24 of 1999 Constitution, and it's not a true reflection of what the people of Nigeria want. Now, Chief Afebabalola SAN, who has been practicing law for more than 50 years, has also lent his voice to that, saying that this constitutional amendment process that we're going through at this moment is going to be an exercise in futility, because in his view, as he pointed out yesterday, this exercise will not address all the cogent issues involved. So at the end of the day, whatever comes out of this exercise, you will still have people saying, no, what we need is a people's constitution, not a tinkering with a document imposed on Nigerians by the military, which gives the president of Nigeria monarchical powers, which concentrates power in the center, and which, is to the disadvantage of the federating units. So, but as an exercise in dialogue, in consultation, as I said earlier, I think, yes, we can say it's good for the people to talk. But this talk will continue because the Constitution will just have to evolve. The country itself will have to evolve. The key issues that affect us will have to be addressed.
Okay. Now, if we just look at this story, I think we have a duty to just update our viewers. The Daily Sun newspaper, beside the masthead, the Daily Sun, returned £4.2 million linked to Ibori, not in our coffers. Delta State government. But if you look at the Vanguard newspaper also, look at the story at the bottom. £4.2 million not yet returned to Delta, Office of the Accountant General of the Federation. So, well, we'll keep a tab on this matter. The money is somewhere, definitely somewhere. Has it even come to Nigeria, or is it still with the British authorities? We need clarity on this matter so that nobody obfuscates this matter and we don't know how the money is expended, as has been the case in a number of recovered funds in the past. But we just move on to the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian newspaper. Government banking on PIB to unplug subsidy to keep petrol price at 162 naira for fear of protests. Marketers want full deregulation, more trouble for states over minimum wage sliding IGR. How government frustrates PPPRA's 7-year subsidy exit plan. Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry says subsidy difficult to police poses major corruption risk. Yes, according to this report, with the NSAS protest in mind, this government is not willing to embark on this full deregulation because of the tension in the country as well as the food inflation, which is already very high. And as such, perhaps for some time to come, Nigerians will continue to enjoy this subsidy even when it has serious economic implications for the country. Now, if we just go quickly to the foreign newspapers, the Guardian newspaper of UK, tens of thousands of people died who didn't need to die. Dominic Cummings, 7 hours, he was briefing Parliament yesterday at Westminster, and he made a series of damning statements. One, Cummings on Hankook, he lied to everyone on multiple occasions. On Boris Johnson as Prime Minister, he said, I regarded him as unfit for the job. Then on COVID, he said, when the public needed us most, the government failed. Well, Boris Johnson is said to be unfit by Dominic Cummings, but many are saying this is just pure revenge. If we look at the Daily Mail newspaper, saying that some of the aides of Boris Johnson saying this is pure revenge that Dominic Cummings is pursuing. But again, he has made some statements, 7-hour testimony before Parliament. Of course, there needs to be some investigation into how the COVID-19 response was handled by the Boris Johnson administration. But again, it is what it is. But if we just look at Washington Post before we round off this segment, Walker fatally shoots 8 at California rail yard. The shootings in America were, how soon will Joe Biden, the president, weigh into the issue of gun control?
Well, I would have loved, if any, I would have loved to comment on Dominic Cummings, but it looks like there is no time. So let's leave it.
All right, thank you
Maybe
so
there will
much.
be another time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Finney, for your time.